Okay. So I'll switch to the other.
May I borrow you for 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Well, not even that long.
Yeah, let's take shots this year.
Actually, I could probably just ask you. I'm on Agria. Et puis,
You're on what?
Agria.
Okay.
Troya.
Okay.
Et puis, c'est gelé, là.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, je suis dedans, j'ai une facture de client ouverte, c'est complètement gelé, il n'y a rien que je peux faire. Je l'ai shut it down, je l'ai rouvert, ça m'a rouvert à la même exacte place, and it's still frozen.
Hello, guest. It's rather informal, blah, 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 so on and so forth. My speakers Don't mind me. What are you beeping about? Just waiting. 15 minutes-ish. Hello, Yvonne. I'm just going to ensure that I'm going to get some liquids going. That might next block 8 minutes or so. Okay. It's about 30 seconds or anything. Hmm. Okay.
There's no truth to that, is there?
No. But if you feel like you are a master of it, then that's one step closer.
Did you also, out of curiosity, did you also record it? That you could put it up somewhere?
That's what I'm trying here.
So if somebody wants to go at a later time, then you sort of got this as a, then you can go on the web and do that.
Oh, look at that. Now people are joining.
Are they? Good.
I see Gary's here, and Yvonne, and person. So
Do we need a pen and paper or anything? Or
That's
no?
entirely up to you.
Oh.
I'll just wait a couple minutes. So, to everyone who can hear me, thank you for joining. We're going to wait a couple minutes before we actually start, because I think there's still a few more that want to join in. But I'm not going to wait too long, because I do want to go through this. You will notice on the screen at the top a web address that you can connect to if you have any particular questions. If anybody wants to try that out, that would be greatly appreciated. Just to say hello. Makes it a little bit more interactive. Oh, that would be beautiful. There we go.
I'll be there in a minute.
Hello, everyone. We're going to get started in a couple minutes. I'm just going to wait for a couple more people. Here, a web address if you have any particular questions to ask while this presentation is going on. So if you want to, in the background, have that website going so you can ask questions, that would be great. Someone could just send me a test question. That would be good too. Hopefully you can all hear me. All right, one more minute. Oops. All right, well, let's get started, I guess. The idea behind this really was just to open up a discussion in regards to our technology, especially in this case, our email. We had a little incident just before Christmas, and it made me realize that some people might need to be a little bit more aware of the technology that's on their phones. Plus, maybe there's some good tips and things that we can share with each other. So this is to open the conversation on that. And so email it's actually older than faxing, surprisingly. It started with, I'm not going to bore you with the details of this, but I just want to very quickly go that it started with the universities when they were all together in their first little ARPANET, as they call it, and they needed a messaging system, so they followed the standard of what they would do, that you would have a message in an envelope, it would go to a particular mailbox. So the same procedure here is that there's an electronic mailbox held by a server. And a client would go and pick up their messages from the server. One of the things that I do want to highlight here is that the addressing of the email system hasn't changed, and it's a key component to identifying who we are and identifying the authenticity of a message. So user at host domain top level domain. So for us, we have pembinacoop.ca, right? And if we wanted to be registered for anything .ca, we have to talk to the .ca registrar. Who then we can go say, here's Pembina Co-op. This is us. We want to have pembinacoop.ca. So there's a certain authenticity to it, a registrar to it, and that's going to be something that's going to be vital to be able to recognize the sources of the information or the source of the email. I hope everyone can hear me. I'm assuming they can. If you can't, you can send me a text. Okay, so like I was saying, it's a client and server relationship. Somewhere in the background, there are servers that are working with our email, and they file them accordingly into our various boxes. And then we use a client to get to our messages. And there's 4 basic types of clients. There's the web-based, there's the PC-based, mobile-based, and if we are in a big enterprise, then there's a whole package solution. When you're web-based, everything is based on the web, so you don't really store anything. It's all stored on the server. When it's PC-based, like laptop or whatever, most of the time the messages are stored on your computer, on your PC. So that's something that you just need to be aware of in terms of the storage of your messages and the backup and that kind of stuff. Same with mobile. Mobile can be treated as a PC, where the messages are stored on your mobile device, or as just a mobile client where it's kind of like web-based, where nothing is stored, it's just copies. So it can play a dual role. Picking up your messages, there's 2 basic formats. And this is where delivery protocols. Think about the POP is the standard post office protocol. Yeah, what's significant like post office? You go and get your mail at the mailbox, you collect your mail, and then you bring it to your PC. So nothing is stored on the server, typically, right? Whereas IMAP is an ideal for mobile devices. So if you're setting up your account on your phone, you would rather use, or I would suggest that you use the internet messaging access protocol, because what it does is it synchronizes everything. That way your sent items as well get synchronized with your account on your server. And then if you send a message from your phone, you have a copy of that sent message in your server mailbox. One of the things we do have to realize now is that email has become much more than email. It is now an online identity. It's a form of signature, if you will, or a form of authentication of who you are. It comes back to what I was saying, where you have user at top level domain, so pembinacoop.ca, and you have a user like me, Michel, at pembinacoop.ca. That becomes a bit of a signature, if you will, an authenticity of who I am. So yes, I have an account from which mail can go into, but it's also a thing, an identity that I can use for registering for various other services, like services that are streamed or online or that kind of stuff. So it's become much more than just a messaging system. It becomes an identity, and this is where we have to be very careful in terms of the security. That we want to make sure that we're treating that with a certain, if it were our own, I get it. Email has become business. 86% of professionals prefer using email communication system. So it is a very predominant or heavy used system. Average, for every message that you send, you get 3 in return. or an average person, or a person on an average day would get about 120 messages, about 40. So all the more reason why the control of your inbox, so that you can shuffle all of that information. In terms of what's going on socially, well, it's just one of many, many platforms now in which communication is happening. And it has kind of, you know of Facebook, you know of Twitter, there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, all of these various other methods. But it all comes down to what is the email address that you use these services. So again, that comes back to the identity. So we have to be vigilant in terms of our email. I mean, there's levels of protection that they're already set up as an antivirus client on there. And pretty much, I hope all our desktops have an active antivirus client at their end too. We also have to ensure that we are vigilant in regards to our own email, especially if we have it, let's say, on our phone. We don't want to leave that phone at the local McDonald's as we forget, and it's and anyone can get on it and start. Right? So the protection of and the stopping of the spread of various forms of malware, including the virus that we had just before Christmas, or worm or Trojan horse or anything like that, it really has to start with you. And that's one of the reasons why I'm opening this discussion and hoping that you can share with your colleagues as well, so that we all have a certain vigilance in terms of our email. So there's essentially, when you boil it down, there's essentially 4 kinds of ways people can fraud or how to get the information from you via the email system, okay? Sorry. First one is that they impersonate or they spoof. So here's an example where you get a message, and the message, according to your email client, like Outlook or whatever, says it's from Dale Total. But when you look a little bit more closely, it's an address that really isn't Dale. It's, according to this, what you see on the screen there, it's just this fake email address. But you can say it looks like it's coming from Dale Total. So that's a method of impersonation. And that's one of the ways where we got caught, in that there's messages from FCL. It shows as people from FCL or people that you know or trust, going in depth or without actually looking at the message. Some people just, oh, okay, yeah, sure, and double clicked and then open themselves up to vulnerabilities. So I'll show you, or I'll tell you how, in regards to how do you know when it really is Dale versus, as an example. The other thing is spoofing. And spoofing is a form of impersonation, but it's the other way. I'm very familiar with, hi, I'm this Nigerian prince, and I have $300 million in my account, but I can't extract it from the bank until you help me, blah, blah, blah. So it's someone who is impersonating a particular role, they're making a spoof out of the situation. So impersonation and spoofing, those are very similar, and where coming from someone, but it isn't. Infiltration is actually a lot scarier. Infiltration is when somebody actually gets into our network. So an example would be when you have your email on your phone and you leave your phone unattended for whatever reason, and someone can go in and impersonate you using your device with your account. Or another way of to log into your account, able to pretend that they're you, your to send various stuff. You might have heard of that a lot. It's a form of fraud where legitimate request, your bank, let's say, says, oh, we've noticed some illegal activity on your account. Can you log into your account, follow this link that's provided? It looks official, it looks right, they use logos, but it really isn't. Logging in with your credentials, you enter your password, they have your information. So that's phishing. The malicious, there's something that's attached to the email with another thing like impersonation. So like in the case that we've had before, FCL emails or people from FCL, and it looks real, and this thing that says, here's this invoice, okay, you double click on the attachment, you're infected. So you need when something is really from impersonation or spoofing. Attachment, is it an attachment that you trust? Is it something that you were expecting? A website or from a bird is really the way that they're communicating. That's phishing. This email is asking for my account information. Is this real, right? So you've got to ask those particular questions. And in terms of infiltration, yes, you want to make sure that we're never going to get infiltrated. Your devices, whatever, collect your, because not only is it your email, it's your identity. Example, with phishing. You get an email from the Canada Revenue Agency that says, oh, can you please follow this link and enter this account information because we've got some about your last tax return. You see that your name is there in full, there's a reference number, logos that look pretty much official, and even a 1-800 number. Should you follow the link that's provided?
No.
Oh, there we go. No, true. You don't want to immediately follow that link. Careful. And in this particular example, Canada Revenue Agency wouldn't communicate that way. Actually, here are some good questions that you might want to ask of that nature. Does the CRA or whatever organization, but like in this example, I'm using the CRA, does the Canada Revenue Agency actually have my email? Information to them, they have my SIN number and address, but did I ever give my email? This is supposed to come from the government, so does it look official? Does it even have the frame, right? So laziness is often a sign that this isn't an authentic message. So if you see that there's the English only, but it's from an agency, there's a sign of laziness or lack of professionalism, which can be interpreted as a means of phishing. And is the sender the actual address on the CRA domain? Just to get back to the example here, where I had the impersonation. Your email, you take your mouse and hover address of your messaging system. You don't click, you just hover. What should happen is you should get the actual email address. It's like what you see on the screen. And then if you can see, well, with .Poland definitely is not Dale. It's just someone that says they're Dale. So the same thing for the CRA. So they might have like an official address or official name from the Canada Revenue Agency, but if you hover your mouse over the email address and look at something fake, then you can safely assume that this is not an authentic aspect. Does the same thing with the link. You can do that. You can hover your mouse over an email address or hover your mouse over a link, because you can do the same with a link in an email. You can say, click here. Link is hidden behind it. So if you hover your mouse, you can see the full link. And if it looks like some weird address that authentic, then don't click it. Sorry. So here's another quick one that I'm going to just highlight here. Does HTTPS? That's something for you to know, is that when there's HTTPS, that means it's under a secure channel. Doesn't necessarily mean it's authentic. If it doesn't even have that, you know that they're not even trying to keep your information secure. And there are that you should probably look at, information available offline somehow, some way, but essentially you can always check the RCMP website, the Anti-Fraud Center, or even organizations just like phishing.org, so you can see examples in terms of people are doing phish for the information from it. So here's a second. You get an email that says it's from Dale. This invoice needs somebody review this exam based. The body of the message is short. No, all right. Trust an attachment that you're not expecting to immediately trust that attachment before you do any email that your antivirus and that you question